Good morning. Happy Tuesday. It must be 9 a.m. Welcome back to another edition of the Merkle Market Update. I'm Loren Merkle of Merkle Retirement Planning. This is where we try to provide you strategy that you can use throughout the course of your life, your plan, to help you make the best decisions possible for you on an individualized basis to help you go to and through retirement. Information is everywhere. Google, other search engines, the 24-hour news channels has really commoditized information where it's really cheap and it's everywhere. So now it's about how do you dig through the weeds of all of this information, take what is important to you and apply it in a meaningful way to help you on your mission, on your journey of a successful retirement. Take this week as an example. So this week, we are going to receive a ton of information all week long, and the vast majority of the information we will be hearing about is going to be negative. It's not going to be good. There's about 3,700 companies that are going to report their first quarter earnings this week. We're going to have about 370 of them today alone. And there's going to be about 370 companies today that are going to say their first quarter earnings weren't any good. In fact, they were atrocious, and they're probably going to provide expectations that their second quarter earnings aren't going to be good either. So we have that on top of all of the unemployment claims that we're going to receive. Millions of Americans are going to have filed, and are going to file for unemployment claims. We're going to hear about that news as well. So all of that news, and how does that impact the market? This week, the market will not be reacting heavily to that type of information. You see, the market is a predictive engine, which means that it's trying to look into the future and say, what do we think is going to happen in the future? And then they're reacting to it, or they're making decisions today based on what they think is going to happen in the future. And everybody already knows that corporate earnings, the announcements this week and next week, are going to be atrocious. Everybody already knows there's going to be millions of unemployment claims. So that is not what the market is going to be reacting to. What the market is going to be reacting to, let's take yesterday as an example. Yesterday, the first time in United States history that oil went to negative prices. You could actually be paid to store a barrel of oil. So all of you swimming pool owners out there who haven't filled up your swimming pool yet, maybe you can store some oil in your pool. As an example, it was $37 negative in price, which means that for 1,000 barrels of oil, if you could store 1,000 barrels of oil in your swimming pool, you'd get paid $37,000 to do so. So that's the type of news that the stock market will be reacting to today and this week and the next week. It's all this uncertainty that comes into play. So I read this morning, a news story this morning, Kim Jong-un, the North Korean leader, there's some reports saying that he is in critical status, has a heart condition, and then there's other stories that are saying that he's perfectly fine and he's conducting business as normal. Either way, that's uncertainty. If this report over here is true, what's the succession plan for North Korea from a leadership standpoint? The unknown is what creates the volatility within the overall market. So how is that important to you? How can you use that information to help you improve your retirement journey, to accomplish your retirement vision? What most retirees really find important, and by the way, pre-retirees and really anybody who needs an income finds important, is where is that income going to come from? How stable is that income going to be, not only now, but also 5, 10, 15 years down the road? And the reason that it's accelerated for retirees is because they're not going back to work. They don't want to go back to work. But what we see, unfortunately, every time we go through a recession, like what we're probably going to go through, 2008 is a prime example, is people had to come out of retirement because they lost 30 to 40 to 50% of their life savings within a relatively short period of time. They couldn't retire, they had to postpone retirement. And that's why the stock market movements are so critical to pre-retirees and retirees. And what we often see is that income plans are created in a way that is heavily dependent on the stock market. So the main concept we're going to talk about today is the stock market is a growth machine. It is not an income machine. which means we don't want to use the stock market to produce income. One of the things that drives me crazy, and I hear this from time to time, I heard it just about a month ago, is an individual I was talking to said they had a meeting with their CPA, and they told their CPA they want to become a little bit more conservative, and they just want to produce steady income. So the CPA recommended to invest in blue chip stocks that have a history of increasing dividends. And I hear that all the time, and it drives me crazy because what that does is it puts you, the pre-retiree, the retiree, in a situation where your income, which means your lifestyle, can be predicated upon the volatility, the movements of the market. And there's not any one of our family members that we work with that are retired that says, Loren, I want my lifestyle to go up and down with this crazy stock market. So how do you develop an income plan that's effective for you at point of retirement to deliver the income that you're going to need, that you can count on to be there consistently, regardless of what happens with Kim Jong-un in North Korea, regardless of what happens with oil prices, regardless of what happens with the COVID-19, and is there going to be any light at the end of the tunnel from week over week, or is it going to get worse? Or any of the other uncertainty that inevitably creeps into our lives, to this country, and into the world. So we're going to talk about how do you create that effective strategy. Dividends are not reliable. And if there's one way that I can illustrate this is by these two graphs right here. And hopefully you can see this. This is going all the way back to 1900. So this is from 1900 to 2018. This is the history of the S&P 500 performance. So you see it's really jagged lines, right? Sharp lines. And you can see how jagged that is. So this is the price of the S&P 500 stocks going up and down. Okay, now many of you have seen that before. That's not anything new. This next chart is the S&P 500 over the same time frame, going back from 1900 all the way to 2018. This is the dividends. So the dividends that these companies are paying, the S&P 500 companies. Look at how sharp, look at how jagged these lines are as well. So if I can move this over, I'm not looking at what you guys are seeing, so hopefully you can see this. But this is the dividends. This is the performance of the S&P 500. Look how similar those line movements are. So if we're trying to create an income stream for you to live on, that's predictable, that's dependable, that is going to provide the lifestyle that you want to have in retirement, this is not how you want your lifestyle to move. And that's why it's so important to have a comprehensive, well thought out, customized income plan as a part of your overall retirement plan. So how do we do that? I'm going to give you a little bit of insight. And this is a little bit detailed because an income plan for a lot of people, a lot of retirees probably should be, to make sure that it not only works at point of retirement, but it works 5 years into retirement, 20 years into retirement. Most retirees, they want to live at least a 20-year retirement time frame, and they need the income to be there. They don't want to run out of money before they run out of time. So this is an example portfolio. Your portfolio may be different. Maybe it's more, maybe it's less, maybe you need more income, maybe you need less. This is $1 million portfolio. And right now this portfolio is segmented about 50% on the growth side. So this is where your stocks are. And if you want to participate in some of the blue chippers, the blue chip stocks that pay dividends, I love those types of companies. Right? I love them, I just don't love them as an income engine. They would fall over here into this category. And over here, maybe you have a segment that is carved off for these large company dividend paying equities. Over here, however, this is your income bucket. And even within the income bucket, we're going to have segmented pieces within this bucket because there's going to be different time frames and different types of income that you're going to need over the course of your retirement. Let me give you an example. This first bucket right here, let's say this is your cash. Cash is important. There is a reason they say cash is king, especially when you're in retirement, especially when you're in retirement in times like this when the market is so jagged. This is your cash, and this is what you're living on for your immediate needs. So let's say of the $1 million, from this portfolio, you need $30,000 of income. What we're gonna do is we're gonna have somewhere between 6, 8, maybe on the high side, 12 months of cash on hand that we're gonna deliver that income. So no matter what is taking place in the stock market, your lifestyle is not going to go up and down. You need $30,000 over the next 12 months from this source of income. This doesn't include Social Security, maybe any pensions you have. We know we're going to deliver from cash. Now, how much is cash paying us right now from a yield standpoint? Very little to nothing. We're okay with that. We're okay with that. Because what it is going to be paying you is the income you need to do all the things that you've been dreaming about doing while you were in the working years. You just didn't have the time to do it. So now you have the time, you have the luxury of freedom, and you need the cash in order to be able to fulfill what it is that you're trying to do. This is what is important about this bucket. And then here, we're gonna have another bucket, and this is going to produce a little bit more yield than what cash is, which means we're taking on a little bit more risk. And what's going to happen is as this gets depleted, because it's paying you the $30,000 a year, this is going to spill over into the cash bucket to replenish it. So the money is coming out of the cash bucket to fulfill your lifestyle. The money is coming out of this bucket, which is a little higher yielding bucket, a little more risk bucket, and it's going to fill up the cash bucket. And then we might have another bucket here, again, a little bit higher yield than what this is. So you can see that the trend here is we're just increasing the risk a little bit as we go, getting a little bit higher yield, and then it's just gonna replenish each portion of the bucket. Same thing that happens over here with the stock market. This is your growth. And this growth is going to be long-term growth. So as a retiree, you're living the lifestyle that you want to with confidence, with certainty. You're not necessarily worried about this because you know the next 5 to 7 years of your income is stable, it's safe, it's still producing some growth on the margins to replenish each one of these buckets and to fulfill the lifestyle that you want. And then the stock market, which is the longer-term growth, is going to spill over into the income bucket. So it's just a systematic approach of how you continue to replenish the cash, and it's just a wheel, if you will. Longer term growth to shorter term growth to your lifestyle needs. This is how the comprehensive income plan works with us. It's complex, this is really high level, there's a lot of moving parts underneath of it, but hopefully you get the idea. It's delivering income in retirement when the market looks like this and can do this at any particular point in time. By the way, recessions happen on average every 4 years. We haven't had one since 2008, so I think sometimes people forget about it. But you plan on being retired for 20, maybe 30 years, you're gonna go through these recessions many times. And every time we go through one, you don't want to have to worry about losing half of your life savings or 40% of your life savings and then decreasing your retirement lifestyle. You've worked too hard, you've worked too long, you've been too disciplined, saved too much money to just let the market erode it away, which is why the necessity for a comprehensive, customized retirement income plan not only provides you more certainty, more confidence, and the lifestyle that you can choose to live when you want to live it, but also is a much better way to develop your long-term retirement plan. So just a couple of key takeaways. Don't rely on the market for income. Don't rely on the market for current or immediate income. You can rely on the market to fulfill your income bucket, refill your income bucket. The market is designed for growth. It is a growth machine. Let it do what it's intended to do, and it will serve you really well, and it will decrease a lot of the market anxiety that you otherwise would have because you are using it the right way. We need to have a plan. If you don't have a plan, it's not too late. You can make a plan in the midst of what we're going through right now. There's a lot of strategies. If you do have a plan, there's a lot of strategies that you can incorporate to take advantage of what has taken place, even with the market where it's at right now. One of the things we always hear is don't do anything. That's not necessarily the case. There's a lot of strategies that we are implementing based on our family's plans that are designed to implement in a down market. So one of the things that you can do if you don't have a plan, get a plan. Even now, it will help you come out of this impending recession better off than potentially than what you went into it. And then we need to stay calm. Right? This is a time to deliver the plan or develop the plan that's important to you, that's customized to what you're trying to accomplish. This news that we hear every single day, every single week, the markets are jagged, going up and down. The markets do what the markets do. So now it's about what are you going to do? What are you going to do to help improve your situation? Because I can't control the markets, you can't control the markets, nobody can, but you can take steps to help improve your prospects of having the retirement that you've always envisioned. I hope this helped a little bit. Happy Tuesday, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the week. We'll look forward to seeing you again next week on the Merkle Market Update. Have a great day.